Wentz was more disappointing than Brady because Wentz should be ascending. Brady, do you know how Brady is so... Frank Sinatra once sat down in that chair. I said, Frank, you hang out with Tom Brady. How old is he? He said Tom Brady's 137 years old. Tom Brady is not supposed to be good anymore. And he really hasn't been. He's been better than he ought to be, has any right to be at his age. But he's not, like when you talk about the MVP candidate, it's not Tom Brady. And by the way, the Eagles defense played their hearts out yesterday. But Carson Wentz through 13 games a couple of years ago. I mean, they were both MVP candidates a couple of years ago. They met in the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz through 13 games was the MVP over Tom Brady, I thought, and didn't finish healthy. He's in the middle of his physical prime. What is this level of regression? In addition to a lot of just bad throws, he had that horrible fumble strip sack that gave the Patriots that field position. By the way, the Eagles defense limited them to a field goal because, as I said, they played their hearts out. It was two good defenses last night. I understand that. But if you're saying who was more disappointing, the 137-year-old who won the game or the guy in his prime who wasn't any good and, by the way, hasn't been good for a while. Stephen A., I'm a Carson Wentz fan. Or I was a Carson Wentz fan. I thought, of all the young guys, if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, boy, we'd be talking about Carson Wentz. No, we're not. He was more disappointing.
To my answers, neither of them. When I look at Carson Wentz, how many drop passes are we going to see? Nelson Aguilar dropped a game-time touchdown pass at the end. It's emblematic of what he's been dealing with all season long. By the way, they only rushed for 81 yards, and Sanders was your leading rusher with 11 carries for 38 yards. That's problematic for the Philadelphia Eagles. On the side of Tom Brady looked completely ticked off in that press conference, and I don't blame him. To be 42 years old, to be a six-time champion, a guy that guided this team to 9 Super Bowls with the great Bill Belichick giving you this defense. Why do you think that as much of a headache as Antonio Brown was, Tom Brady welcomed him with open arms, even offered to give him a spot at his pad, at his crib? Tom Brady, I mean, this is a guy that's being accused of assault now, and Tom Brady still wanted this dude in his home with his wife and kids and said, you know what, let him come here. Why? Because at 42, he's looking at the talent that he's got to work with. He's like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I mean, your best receiver is your slot guy in Edelman. You've got no you've got no outside threats whatsoever. The level of talent that he and the Patriots are bereft of has put him in such an incredibly disadvantaged position. You actually find yourself, if it were not for all the championships and all the trips, you actually find yourself feeling sorry for them, even though they're 9-1.
That's why it's incredible what he's doing, Stephen A., but the fact is, let's get this straight. Let's not get it bent here. Beginning of his career, Tom Brady couldn't take no protection and no outside speed and do much with it, right? He was much more of a game manager. He hit a peak that he kept for so many years where it didn't matter almost the protection and the speed. That's not the case anymore.
That is your assessment. That is not mine.
Okay. But he hasn't had protection, he hasn't had receivers, and he hasn't produced.
Thank you so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.